Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. And it's season 7 and our second in the Premier League with Wealdstone. Looking for this season to get off to a good start, hopefully, and chase down a European spot because we need to start qualifying for Europe if we're ever going to win the Champions League. Thinking that Dane Scarlett might be an absolutely bargain for us. 2 goals in his first game. What a great start. But not so good when we faced Man City away in our second game. Didn't really fancy us to get a result in this game anyway, but didn't make matters easier by getting a man sent off. So 2-0 win at Man City, probably not the worst result really in the circumstances, but we're gonna start the season off to a pretty sticky start as it goes, losing to Man City, Tottenham Hotspur, and then Liverpool 4-3. So not ideal. What happened in the off-season? We did finally have our stadium upgraded, so we've now got a capacity of 14,242, selling out every home game as well. So got the fans behind us at least. Still probably need quite a substantial higher capacity really to get a good attendance so that we can afford higher wages and then better players. But the main sticking part really for attracting players is the club's reputation. So really need to qualify for Europe to up that reputation. Got back on the winning ways here with a penalty shootout against Watford in the EFL Cup. Watford are in the Championship now, so not the greatest of results really, a penalty shootout, but we're not really interested. I suppose in the EFL Cup, it is a route to Europe really, so could do with winning a cup, that'd be nice, but in FM you don't really get the big teams taking it lightly like you do in real life, so it's until you've got a really good team, it is still quite hard to win a cup competition, I've found anyway. So looking at the Burnley away, we're picking up a win there, so finally starting to get some wins together after a pretty shitty start with but Man City, Spurs, Liverpool, 3 games right at the beginning of the season is not an easy way to start the season, is it really? Dima with a header there, so nice little goal for our new centre-back signing. Looking to see a bit of growth at the back for our centre-backs, that Fernandes and Dima. With our young centre-back partnership, would really like to see some growth between them. Signing young players is really our way to build the squad really, so we've got to hope they develop into really good players. By the looks of things, Daniels looks like he's fairly decent, so if Fernandes, if one of the centre-backs turns out, that'd be good. There's never a guarantee in FM, no matter what it says by the scouts, there's never a guarantee that players do develop. It does come down to training, how much exposure to have to the first team, if they play in their preferred position, all sorts of things go on. How well they settle or adapt in a new environment, all sorts of things. So there's never a guarantee. You could play one save and a youngster is really good. You could play another save and he's not very good. So there's never a guarantee. And our youngsters are regen, so I've got no idea if they would be good or not anyway. Hopefully, Daniels and Mascal in the middle, though, can form a good partnership for us if we can hold on to them. That'll be the issue. If anybody gets too good, they might get poached from us. Southampton here, after a nice little run of 4 Premier League wins on the bounce, but it was Burnley, Bournemouth, Norwich, Fulham, so I'd anticipate those to be the lower half of the table this season, really. Southampton are going to slip to a home defeat against them, which is really annoying, and of course, and then a visit to Old Trafford, again, not an easy fixture. And we're going to get hammered 4-0 by Manchester United. So, bit of a mixed start to the season, really. Beaten some poor teams, gotten beaten by some good teams, and sitting firmly in the middle of the table. So, not really seeing much of a growth towards the top end. Get a nice win against Everton there. Completely outplayed them, looking at the statistics there as well. Scarlett scores another. That's his 6th of the season. So, he has started well for us. He actually goes on a nice little run here with him scoring against Brighton in the next game, even though we do lose 3-1. We seem to lose quite... I think Brighton last year beat us as well. They're not a good team for us. See, think we played them in the Cup in previous seasons as well. But here Scarlet is getting a nice double against Crystal Palace as we run away 3-1 winners, with Enzo Lefebvre popping up in the last minute to secure a win for us after we got pegged back 2-2 by Palace. So a great little comeback, although that goal that they scored to equalise, the keeper just dived out of the way of the ball. So I think we deserved the win there, because that was a terrible error that you can't really accept that kind of error in FM, really, but it happens from time to time. Enzo Lefebvre, although I thought he was just, because we signed him on a free, his contract was up, I wasn't really expecting much, because generally a player of that kind of age that isn't signed by another team and another team aren't interested in him tend to be not that great a player, and they're just really bodies that will fill in. But he seems to be playing really well for us, so really quite surprised with him. The scouts didn't really rave about him, and his stats don't really pop out or anything, but here he is scoring. I think he's got 6 goals so far this season, which is a good return from a right winger. And after reeling off a few good results, the Palace, the Chelsea and the Villa wins, we then come up against a couple of the top teams. Arsenal at home, but they beat us with a late goal, which is a bit disappointing because we were 1-0 up and it was quite an even game. But they are second in the league, so kind of expect that. And then we're away at Newcastle at St James's. Early man sent off, and they smash us 4-0. So it seems that we have a good little run, then we have a bad little run, good little run, and it's quite frustrating. But I think that's because the depth in the squad isn't there. So our first 11 aren't too bad, but our backups just aren't really good enough. Well, I don't want to say they're not good enough, but they're not quality. They're not top class. So it's going to be, especially with a lot of the youngsters, that we're trying to build up. There's Matías Fernandez scoring against Leicester, one of our youngsters. So hopefully he becomes a really good centre-back. Sometimes our away form has always been an issue for us, and it has been sketchy this season, getting some heavy defeats. But then we beat Villa 4-1 away, which is a really good result. And here we are beating West Ham 3-0 away. So we are getting some good results away from home, but not on a consistent basis. Our home form is still pretty strong, though, which is quite important with that packed-out stadium we've got with the 14,000 fans cheering us on. There's Lefebvre with it, that's his 7th goal of the season there. So yeah, he is chipping in with quite a few goals and assists. Now, what's interesting about Lefebvre is he's right-footed, and we play the right winger as an inside forward. So generally, the left-footed players are more likely to score and play well because they're going to be cutting in. Whereas Lefebvre, he's statistically doing really well for us as a right-footer. So that's quite unusual, and maybe I would be a bit more flexible in future. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.